So on the theowanne.com website, under resources, you'll notice a section called Mouthpiece Museum. Well, how did Mouthpiece Museum come about and what is it? When I first started refacing mouthpieces, I was obsessed with the vintage mouthpieces. So I was collecting every Gale, MC Gregory, Brillhart, Berg Larson, Autolink, all the great vintage mouthpieces. And then I was seeing, why does this one sound good, but this one doesn't sound good? And then I was trying to make the ones that don't sound good play as good or better than the ones that were my favorites. In diving into these vintage mouthpieces, I started to notice patterns. And then I could figure out when one mold had to have been upgraded to a different mold, etc. So say, vintage Meyer went from New York Truflex to a Meyer Brothers to the New York USA. And then I noticed all New York USAs weren't the same. There were two different molds used for the New York USAs. So then I put the early New York USA and the later New York USA, right? And then, Autolink, I started to look into what's the difference in design from a master link, tone master, early Florida, double band, double ring, to a early Florida to a later Florida, because the baffles were completely different, right? And then why they sounded different. And then I cataloged all these changes in Mouthpiece Museum. So it's really a great resource for you to understand the vintage mouthpieces and how they changed over time. And then at Theo Wanne, we've just tried to continue that knowledge, standing on the shoulders of the greats. And hence, when I would make reface mouthpieces for people, they'd want, say, a Florida Autolink, right? Well, really, the first, let's say, Gaia 1 tenor mouthpiece was very much like an Autolink, but with the changes that my customers were asking for. So since then, we've continued Gaia 2, Gaia 3, Gaia 4, and we've just continued expanding based on customer feedback, that design. So leading now to the Lakshmi, which in my opinion is the ultimate link and one of the greatest, feedbacks I ever got was from one of our endorsers who said, Theo, I bet if Dexter Gordon were alive today, he'd be playing the Lakshmi. I was like, yes! That's my goal. If you didn't know, Dexter Gordon was my hero growing up, and his ballad playing just inspired me to create that beautiful tenor sound, of which I now believe the Lakshmi is the epitome of. And in our Essentials line, that would be the jazz tenor. Now that knowledge is just a great resource for everyone to use. And so feel free to check it out. Again, it's under the resource section of our website called Mouthpiece Museum.